Hello and welcome back to Racing, everyone. It's been a long 5-week break over the summer and there's a lot to catch up on. We're excited to start the second half of the season with Crypto Data RNF MotoGP Team. I'm joined today with my colleague Adam Wheeler, together with none other than Razlan, the founder and team principal of RNF, and Wilco Zeelenberg, the team manager for episode 7 of RNF Unlocked. Welcome back to the paddock. Gentlemen, hello, welcome back. And first of all, I guess it's just time to ask, how was the break? Was it too short or was it too long, Razlan?
I think it's too long. But it's too long, but it's good to spend time with the family, especially with the wife and kids, more with the kids, I guess. No, it was good, but it became to the point where it's too long. So I'm glad to be back.
I agree with that. Of course, knowing what is ahead of us in all these races, because still 24 races to come. And we know we have to do that in 3 months. So we needed to enjoy this, but also it created a problem the next 3 months, you know. So we enjoyed the 5 weeks, and we are lucky because our riders needed to recover as well. But actually 5 weeks, officially for a team and being away from racing, it's too long, you know, especially during the season. But I think we took profit of it to have the riders recovering from their injuries.
I think being Malaysian, I look forward for the Asian leg, you know, from India onwards. You know, I think it's good, and now it's time for them to really understand what it's like to come to Europe. You know, so now we got 4 more European races to go before we go to Asia, and I look forward for Asia.
We should also
probably you're the only one in the paddock.
We should also remember we should have been in Kazakhstan. So it feels like a long break, but in reality there should have been another race there. And also, you know, Goodwood Festival Speed. Miguel, I think, was turning up there in front of British fans.
Miguel couldn't turn up because he was sick.
Oh, okay.
So Raul did. Yeah. So it turned out to be pretty good.
Yes. I saw. They both actually wanted to experience this Goodwood thing because it's quite big, as we all know. I also never have been there, but
It's not really halfway to the season, you know? We've still got 11 races to go, including 12, including this one. Yeah. So it's not even halfway. We've still got plenty of races.
Actually 24.
24. All the guys hated it when Wilco said 24 races.
Tired just thinking about it.
It's reality, you know, because finally every time you need to... It's a race, it's a risk. So you have to be prepared.
Absolutely. Guys, we have lots to talk about after this long summer break, but you mentioned there, Wilco, your riders were both injured coming into the summer break. Can you maybe just give us a brief update on how both Miguel and Raul are?
Yeah, of course. Luckily, I think Miguel was able to come back in Mugello, even he was not completely fit. But anyway, he could do some decent speed, even though he was not strong, you know, especially the shoulder changing direction. Also in Essen, he struggled big time with the high speed change of direction. All the slow parts, he was actually very competitive and fast. But in turn 8, 9 and 14, 15, he lose 3/10 in each corner, you know. So I think that proves enough that he was still not fit enough to perform well, you know, because he went from, I think, P12, P13 to P6, P7. But then you know, the bike was wobbling around too much, he said, and I think also he could not control it in the way it should be controlled, you know, because if you pull the handlebars from one side only and you forget the other side, the bike will anyway wobble, you know. So probably a part of it was himself, but also, recovering was our main target for this 5-week break.
Absolutely.
And Raul also. I mean, mentally and physically, mentally for Raul, he needs to reset.
Yeah.
You know, a lot more expectation from him, but I think he understood what he needs to do, and hopefully he shows. I mean, he has the pace.
Yes.
It's just that he always makes this one mistake in the middle of the race, and that screws everything up for him.
Yes, true. Also in Essen, basically, he was in P11, but his target and his mission is so big, and his ambition is so huge, that he makes a mistake. You know, he high side or he goes wide. He missed 10 seconds in one lap, and finally finished 12th. But P8 was 10 seconds ahead of him. You know, so he should slow down to go fast. Stay with the boys where you are, because he was in a good group with Franco, and these boys are former race winners, and he should go step by step and don't make the mistakes. And every race weekend, actually, so far. he had nearly hitting somebody or going long, going straight, and then you miss your group. And that's of course not what you need.
Is it difficult for these young guys not to put pressure on themselves as well? Because, I mean, Raul must be hearing things around, people moving in the paddock. They must be also thinking about their career.
Yeah.
It's not just what's happening on the Saturday and the Sunday. There's a bit of a wider picture. It must be hard for him to lock that out and think.
Well, we discussed that. In fact, we discussed it last week when we had a meeting with Aprilia to look at the current season, what we're going to do this year and next year. And no doubt, he probably hears stories about people coming to approach us. And yes, there's a number of riders that came to talk to us. So number one, we confirmed with Aprilia that he needs more time. So he shouldn't worry. And that is something that we have communicated to Raul as well, that, don't worry, because you have a contract with Aprilia for at least 2 years with an option for another 2 years, So that should not get him distracted. And focus and just do the job and don't pressure himself. But sometimes he does that because he's so young.
Yeah, he's very ambitious.
Yeah.
And, as he knows, he's now with 22 boys which are his level or basically more experienced than him in this class. And winning championship as well as he did not do, basically, because finally he won in Moto3.
Yeah.
And Moto2 he missed out. But anyway, he has been better than the rest in the championships. But now he has the same profile as the other boys, and he has the speed, but you need to have the whole package. Also stay calm if you are not in a position that you wish to be in with, you know what I mean? Because if you're leading, it's like, hey, I'm leading this race, but if you're P12, P13 or more backwards, you also need to stay calm and see what the other guys are doing. Because a race from 40 minutes to concentrate and don't make mistakes.
But
It's very important.
I think when you see things can shake up quite quickly, I mean, we just saw the news that Alex Rins is going to be, riding Yamaha, essentially not breaking an agreement, but not continuing an agreement with HRC. Then it must make riders think, wow, things can move, extremely rapidly. If Marc Marquez decides to finish his tenure with Honda as well, then that's, the whole kind of makeup of the paddock can shift.
Yes.
But that's nature of sports, isn't it? I mean, football. I mean, you look at Formula One when what's his name,
De Vries, Nick De Vries.
Nick De Vries just
he left.
So
Ricciardo.
but that's sports, isn't it? I mean,
there is a lot of money involved and a lot of interest, and sometimes it's better to to follow up and break the contract, just pay the amount of money. That's what you see, basically, in my eyes, in Formula One.
Yeah,
and then because there is a lot of money involved in that sports, of course, and then it's cheaper to have performances, you know what I mean, and then pay the guy out and then try to perform again. But anyway, also Ricciardo, the first race was okay, but even the second race, Tsunoda was 10 places in front of him, I think, or something.
But not forgetting, I mean, Raul is still in his second year. Okay, he had a terrible first year with KTM. And for us, it happens with Darren, but for Darren's under exceptional circumstances because he's signed with Yamaha. Okay, and we stopped with Yamaha and we switched to Aprilia. In theory, young riders like this, you need minimum 2 years, to give them a chance, not to just, after 1 year just to get rid of them. I think that's not correct.
But I think where you're coming more from is there are more options at the moment because people are looking for seats.
Yeah, not enough seats.
Yeah, something and changing as well.
Yeah.
But I think also what fans forget is that, is that, you think, where are the results? But then, maybe as a team, you have to think, where is the potential? If you think if this kid cannot get faster or is not learning, cannot progress, then you have to review your options. But if you think, well, look, we think there's a lot more to come from him, then you just have to say patient, know, and that's hard in this kind of sport landscape now where everybody wants, stuff.
Like the pressure that Fabio Di Giannantonio is having, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
In a way. Yeah.
A few changes have been talked about over the summer break, guys. Firstly, we have a slightly new format on Friday, or different format. This is something I think you guys were in favour of initially, and I believe there was maybe a meeting at Assen where things didn't work out, but it's been announced that the first session of the weekend won't count towards who goes through automatically to Q2. Is this a positive thing, Razlan?
I think it is, yeah. I mean, well, it's funny how they got to that decision, because we received an email to discuss it in Assen, to change the format, from British Grand Prix onwards, and it was clearly indicated that it has to be unanimously agreed. Okay, so prior to that meeting, we spoke to people, and it looks like everybody seems to agree, right?
Yeah.
So we said that with that meeting, and this is something that, of course, Wilco is quite vocal about it. I mean, I totally agree. We spoke to the riders, and they said that something needs to change leading up to the sprint race. So we were there getting ready, and suddenly, I don't know, I think it's an open secret, right? So Ducati came in and said, nope, we don't agree. And everybody like, what the hell are we here then? So everybody was quiet until Wilco was being vocal again and create some excitement in that meeting.
Yeah, anyway, my vision was clear that, due to the format change, we had a lot of troubles, every team, from crashing and making mistakes and having riders injured, and even not saying that it was... we were also unlucky basically because of Miguel, but also other riders. Everybody was crashing in my eyes, and we destroyed a lot of material and parts. And we needed to review the decision, And even in Austria last year, I already mentioned it. I was like, whoa, this is going to change the whole story, We went from 20 races to 40 races, more or less. And everybody's risking a lot on the Friday, of course. It brings a lot back to the sports as well, because Dorna is very happy with all the excitement. But you need all the riders there as well. Before you know it, you miss out of riders, And we had that a couple of times when there are only 17 riders on the grid. But nobody seems to be able to see that this was coming from format, And with 17, 18, it's limited. But before you know it, you're on 12, 13 riders on the grid, and then it's going to be painful as well for the whole. Championship.
Yeah.
And I think they needed to realize, but they are a little bit like, no, it's not because of the format. And I really believe with this FP1 or P1, doesn't matter how you call it, FP1 is free, then already the pressure is different on the riders. Of course, it brings a little bit more pressure on FP2 because you have a tire over, you can have an extra tire. But I think the risks are, the more practice they have on the bike, the less, the smaller the risks are that they're going to make a big disaster.
Yeah, and sure, was there many people tuning into the first practice session at the end just to see the final 10 minutes? I don't think that's maybe why you watched the first practice session of the weekend,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Again, we don't have the data.
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, maybe Dorna saw something that is important. But still, there is excitement in the afternoon.
And yes, it created a lot of excitement. I have to say that too. The sprint race, it looks fantastic. Even I know how much risk there is and how much challenge the boys have during the whole weekend because of it. But anyway, for the sports, it looks to be good. In my eyes, it should have been 6 or 7 races, not the whole season straight away. But let's be honest, it works. So the Saturday, and we don't touch that. But let's look to. If we are able to evaluate and learn from what we have been doing the last 8 races.
I think it's good. 60 minutes of free practice is what everybody needs.
It's interesting though, a couple of the riders already here at Silverstone, admittedly more the Ducati boys are saying, well, it doesn't make that much difference. They can look at the forecast and anticipate any changes, or they say in P2, the conditions are going to be similar, then you hold back. In P1, you didn't really need to risk the tyre, or, Luca Marini said the same. He said Pecco Bagnaia was another one that took that strategy of being cool, during P1. But maybe that's, speaking about manufacturers, have a very settled technical package,
We agree with that as well. For me, the best would have been Friday completely free. That would be the best, because you need that time on the bike to get the guys. Now they have been 5 weeks not on the bike. And now, the FP1 in the last 10 minutes, put the bike low fuel and put a qualified tire. And that not all the time the same guys made mistakes, but there were always 3 or 4 boys seeing the big tumble, that one bike was gone. And not always the same one.
But like Adam said, Ducati have a good package right now. The other guys like, Honda, Yamaha, for them to push immediately on a bike that is not currently great is risky for them.
Yeah.
When you have a great bike, they can afford to take it easy and push in the next session.
Yes, this is also something that we need to keep in mind, of course. And
but not good for young riders. But now it's easy. It's less pressure for them. For them, if you crash the previous race on Sunday, and it's straight away coming back in the following race and start doing a practice session. It's difficult.
Anyway, for me, it's the first step, and let's hope it works. But for sure, there's still a lot of pressure, So this is no doubt, because the 22 boys are very equal. The lap time is there, and as Razlan also said, the Ducatis have a bit of a benefit at the moment. They can wait. They have a little bit of extra performance, and on Friday morning they go to Q2. Then actually is already a different weekend. If you have to start the next morning in FP3 and the pace is not there, the lap time is not there, you have to go to Q1 and then to Q2 and then the race, instead of being relaxed already on the Friday afternoon, being Couture with 2 fingers in the nose.
Another change, I guess, is the front tire pressure. Basically, we're going to see from Silverstone that riders' teams will be penalised if they are under the recommended pressure level for more than 50% of the sprint race or Sunday's race.
Yeah.
This is something that has been coming, I guess, all year. What is your reaction to that?
We had a meeting this morning, but we have not really had any kind of communication yet.
I did not get an official email or whatever, but I know, so they are going to be strict to the rule now. So we know what the rule is. So 50% of the time you cannot be...
But penalty-wise, we don't know.
It was 3, 6 and 12, wasn't it? Seconds, penalties?
Is it?
No, I did not see it. I did not get an official document whatsoever. Okay. Maybe Aprilia did.
Yeah, probably the factory received it, but we have not.
There's a warning?
Yeah, the first, if it's one time, you get a warning. If it's 2 times, you get a 3-second penalty.
During the race or?
Yeah, exactly. And for
after
now,
the race, because they need to wait.
After the race.
Exactly, after the race to see the pressures, yeah.
So we need to wait longer until we see what the real race result is.
So I guess this is one of the fears, that potentially we could see a race happen and you think that the podium is the podium. And then afterwards you realize, okay, the guy in second, his pressure was under the recommended amount for 60% of the race, and therefore he loses some position. So
we could have been already on the podium this year with this rule.
Yeah, okay.
And we were 11 or 12, but we would have been on the podium. Serious, huh? But anyway, I think it's good. And it will not be easy, because the window of the change of the front tire is quite big. But of course, we are aiming now for the best target, which is actually spot on what is the minimum, And this is what
I'm sure they will monitor it straight away, right, after the race. I mean, they can't be waiting.
It's a lot of data, so...
Sure.
But there must be a system.
At least the top 3 first.
Right. I would imagine so, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well, Marini was also saying some riders don't have notifications if they're over or under. I mean, it seems to be very much a responsibility for the team's technical side rather than the rider, monitoring it and having to administer it during a race.
Yeah.
That sounds...
Yeah, but we need to... I get an email, we need to download an application, our new one.
So that's for stewards' penalties.
Yeah, steward penalties. But I think this one probably is well included or not. After the race, they will be easily...
Yeah, could be. Yeah, we received an email to say that we have to download this app.
Yeah.
So that we'll be notified if there's any...
Normally we get a notification email basically to say, you have a penalty, speeding here or speeding there, or...
So you can get a message from your wife on your phone and then a penalty coming up at the same time. It's...
I'm not sure if that's going to work. The best is to have it big on television, because everybody is aware, and we are looking anyway television. My telephone is always somewhere there, and I'm not looking on my telephone for the notifications,
Yeah.
Maybe I should have it here.
I think the stewards want to keep busy, maybe keep it in that popularity contest.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it could be a bit of a game changer, and for sure there's coming more questions back from it as well, and problems as well, So, but to have one rule and to make the limitation as a real limitation is good. For me, the target is wrong, but anyway, everybody need to be higher than as it should be in my eyes, and then at least it's for everybody the same.
Yeah. And it's going to be a lot of guesswork involved, right? Because your tire pressure is completely dependent on your place on the track. So you kind of have to make a calculation at the start of the race or before the race. Are you going to be alone or in a group?
Yeah, that's the trick now at the moment. So
whoever engaged the best tire engineers then. And I heard that Suzuki used to have a good one. So who took him? Somebody took him. KTM took him, I think.
Anyway, I think the aim is clear. Nobody wants to get penalized.
Yeah.
But indeed, if you after first corner you run into somebody and you become alone, you're less anyway. You know what I mean? Then it doesn't matter so much anymore, and it will be very difficult to come back. So the problem is when you arrive from the middle of the grid back alone, because then the tire pressure drops a lot. And then you're too low, basically. If you're in a group, you're safe, you're fine. And as soon as you're alone, it will drop. And then you need to protect yourself for that. But that could be also so high to protect yourself, like 0.1 or 0.2, that when you're in that group, that you go sky high and you go backwards anyway. We also had that a couple of times, of course.
Speaking of first corners, how cool is it to be in the new sort of location here at Silverstone? I think it's like 10 years since MotoGP last used this particular pit complex.
Yeah, was it 13 or?
Valentino was riding a Ducati, wasn't he? So it was 12 for sure.
12.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 years or not?
Yeah, 11 and 12, I think.
I think it's nice, but I just don't like the design of it. To be in front of the pit, not be able to see anything on the track because the pit was raised up.
Right.
I think this is one of my comments when I was the CEO when they refurbished this. But I think it's nice. It's bigger. I mean,
it's more modern. So for sure, we have much more space.
Yeah,
but already
and
it's 10 years old as well.
Yeah. And we discovered we don't have enough panels because it's too big.
It is true.
Yeah. And sadly, it doesn't stop the rain if we're in this paddock or the other one, so that could be a problem on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
What was the reason actually why we came back to this one? You know that? Because I thought that one is going to be broken down, but it's still there.
It's paddock size, I believe. They're trying to squash the whole MotoGP paddock into the old layout.
Okay.
So it was always going to be the plan last year that the wing, how Silverstone called this complex, would be used for 2023. But it's like a significant place for you guys anyway, this GP, right? This circuit, hasn't it?
Yeah, of course. This is where everything started, RNF.
Yes.
2 years ago, yeah. And that's where, basically this is the anniversary for how RNF was birthed.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Razlan? Because obviously this team was under a different name, different guys at the time. And then you had to basically start again.
Yeah, so before we were with Petronas Sepang Racing Team. And then the news of Petronas pulling out. And then I had to decide what to do. And I had a fallout with our famous race director, and I had to really scramble to do something to move forward, to rescue the team, and of course my sister lives here with her husband, who's a lawyer, so they were guests for our team, and he said, look, just create a company in the UK. It was easily done, but within a week it can be done. So I said, okay. And then I had to think of a name, So we came up with a name, and I think on that Monday he helped registered the name, and that's how it started. Yeah. And we went to Misano, spoke to Carmelo that I'd like to change the team to RNF, and we announced it in Misano. But the actual birth of the company was in Silverstone.
But then also it's quite a nice double for you because next is Rebel Ring and the Austrian Grand Prix, and that's when Cryptodata were title sponsors. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah. It was a mix actually, because Austria was when Petronas announced that they decided to stop, and that was a harrowing experience. We had to tell the team, remember? Yes. Austria 1 or Austria 2? Austria 1, I think.
I think 1, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so we had to break that news. So we had that terrible experience, but then it was good last year with Cryptodata coming in and resulted to where we are right now.
But also it was bad news because also we had Moto3 and Moto2, and we all needed to stop. So we are still here, looks like, but also we had to fire many people. So half of the team went away.
Well, don't say fire.
Fire.
We had to close the Moto2, let them go. You know. Yeah, so that was painful because a lot of these guys been with us. I mean, we started with Moto3 team. Unfortunately, in terms of value, MotoGP has more value. I could not close MotoGP and give it up and continue with Moto2, Moto3. So we take the most valuable one, which is the MotoGP.
And speaking of KTM, Razlan, we saw some comments over the summer break from their CEO, Stefan Pierer, about RNF and about some changes that might come in the future with regards to factories and the independent teams you have in MotoGP. I guess you want to respond to those comments.
This is what happens when the break is too long. Where there's not many stories flying around. So this is how we create excitement, or they create excitement anyway. But no, I mean, I can categorically state that there was no approach from KTM at all, especially with a guy like Stephen Pierre. I was not approached by him at all. And I think they are in a situation where they need to accommodate Pedro Acosta and influence some kind of stories just to stir what? I'm not sure. This was also brought up to the attention of Aprilia Racing, which we had a meeting last week. So we said no, there was no approach from KTM. Even if there was an approach, we are very close with Aprilia. We have a solid 2+2 years agreement, and we tend to honor that. I think the last thing we want to do in a paddock is to do just that. I think it's not good for the sport. I don't think Carmelo wants that. Although he's under pressure from KTM. But he also doesn't want to be pressured by Piaggio Group, but professionally it's not right anyway, but we're not even thinking about it. We had a good meeting last week with Aprilia to review our current season, how we're going to move forward this year and next year. So we have a good relationship with them and we're happy.
If that's really true, what he has been saying, I'm not sure if that's true because I didn't read it, I was on holiday, but then clearly means he was looking for a way to find a spot, and we are, of course, a satellite team, and probably he just bubbled it up, even without contacting us, basically. So that's...
Because their situation, it seems, is they're looking for a spot for another rider, and they're maybe contacting other independent teams in the class, right?
Well, I know they went to Lucho, so Lucho came up with an official statement. Okay, I'm not sure they went to Gresini, so I think we were like the last resort. I don't know, But I think considering our experience with KTM, with Raul and all that, I'm surprised they're even talking about us.
Yeah. Anyway,
but coming from Steven, Steven Pierre is quite something. The least he could do is just send me a message or something, rather than put it out there like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So guys, just before we wrap up, a prediction for this weekend. I guess we're probably going to have to keep in mind the weather, right? And the last time we had a lot of rain, it maybe wasn't the best for the Aprilia guys back in Argentina.
Well, do you remember last year who won 2 races in the rain? Huh? Do I need to remind you? Just being positive, results for Sunday race, first and second. Boom. Razlan?
I can share that. Yeah. Look, for us, British Grand Prix is basically a reset for us. It's like nearly round 1 again. We had a terrible start, with Miguel, with Raul, with his arm pump and his mind and so on. Still 11, 12 races to go. It's a lot of races to go.
24.
Yeah, again. I'm not saying that we're going to be up there in the standings, but I still maintain the fact, we had a meeting this morning, that minimum 1 podium is nice, regardless of where the rounds are. But for me, if we can do it in Malaysia, because it's sentimental, Maverick was 3rd in Malaysia last year, and I love for somebody to give us that trophy if we get on the podium in Sepang. But anywhere will do, but yeah.
That's not really a prediction for the weekend, Razzie. You kind of skirted right around that.
Well, we have to. Look, at the end of the day, we are in the World Championship, right? We're here to win. We'll try to win. We are not like a satellite team, 5 years ago, where the satellite team has different bikes. We have nearly the same bike. So we have, and Aprilia is supporting us. So we have every chance to try and go for podium.
No, but saying that, we also need to be realistic and say we did not do a lot of top 10 finishes this year. Yeah. So this is especially, okay, I think Assen was a good aim, especially for Miguel. Before he stopped, he was 7 or 8, and being 6th I think that's the target where we should be. And depending on who is in front of us, that's a good result. And we can build up to that word, And of course, we want to do better, but we need to do it step by step. And if the step is big, it's a bonus. But for me, between 5 and 10 is possible, especially for Miguel. And let's target for that. And anything better than that is, of course, better.
Still one podium.
I was meaning this weekend because they asked me this weekend.
Well, there you have it, direct from the horse's mouth. Thanks very much, Razlan. Thanks very much, Wilco. A bit of insight on what's happening currently in MotoGP and with the Crypto Data RNF MotoGP team. Fret not, listener, we have more episodes of RNF Unlocked coming up with 12 rounds and 24 races still to go, including this weekend, of course. So do comment on a topic that you'd like to hear next. Until then, we'll see you in Austria. It's going to be a key race for Crypto Data and the team, but first let's look forward to this race weekend at Silverstone. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.